Okay, we just finished the introduction to completing the square, and now we're going to go to the more intermediate practice on Khan Academy here. We'll still be following the same idea, which is we want to have. I'm not going to draw this out every time, okay? But we're going to have some setup that looks like this, and then we want to figure out how much is in there so that we can complete the square. And if we have something that looks like x squared plus bx is equal to d, then we're going to add this c over here onto both sides so that we can make a perfect square right here. And that c is going to end up being, this side is going to be b over 2, and this side is going to be over 2. Why? Because there are bx's, half here and half there, and so this c is going to end up being b over 2 squared. So we're going to keep using that method, and there are lots of ways to complete the square if you have a leading coefficient with a, but I'm going to get rid of it every time because that's the most dependable way to do it. So we're going to start with x squared plus 12x plus 36 is equal to 0. The first thing I'm going to do is put it up in this form over here where everything is out. I'm going to subtract 36 from both sides. And this is going to work out to be like 2 steps forward and 2 steps back. But I want you to get used to solving it like this. And when you get good at it, then you can, then maybe you can see it. Okay, so now I'm going to take half of this value. So our b is 12. Here our b equals 12, and our d is equal to negative 36. So we have to figure out our c. Our c is going to be equal to b over 2 squared. So that's going to be half of 12. Half of 12 is 6. 6 squared is 36. So I'm going to add 36 to both sides. Now I could have told you, hey, this is a perfect square already, but then would you know it? Okay, so when we follow these steps, it's going to make things not confusing. Okay, and then when we end up with the same equation up over here that we started with, okay, which is x squared plus 12x plus 36 equals 0. See, that's why I said it's 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. But now we know that this is x plus 6 squared is equal to 0. So I know that x plus 6 equals 0, or x plus 6 equals 0. So that's the same way. Subtract 6 from both sides. I know that x is equal to negative 6. So, so right here I have x plus 6. You can see I have x plus 6 equals 0. Okay, we're going to go on do this next one. Okay, I have the function, rewrite the function by completing the square. So I'm not going to be able, we don't have an equals here. I'm going to have to do it just a little bit differently. But it's basically the same. X squared minus 4x, and I'm going to put minus 26 over here. Okay? And remember, that's equal to f of x. Okay? So I want to figure out what I need to add here to make it a perfect square. So we know that we can see that our b is negative 4. So our c is going to be equal to negative 4 over 2 squared, which is 2 squared, which is equal to 4. So I need to add 4 to get that value, but we don't have an equation where I can add 4 to both sides, so I need to subtract 4. If I add 4 and subtract 4, then that's 0, right? So I'm going to group this together and then leave this up on the side. So now I have x minus 2 squared, and minus 4 minus 26 is minus 30. Okay, so I have x plus negative 2 plus negative 30, or x minus 2 squared minus 30. Okay. Let's go ahead and try number 3 here. Okay, so we have another f of x. I'll write the f of x on this side. Should have done last time, but in the wrong order. Plus 8x, and then I'm going to put the minus 29 over here, kind of like I did with our equal sign, but we don't have an equal sign over here. So our b for this is equal to 8. So we know that our c is going to be b over 2 squared. And b is 8, b over 2 is 4, 4 squared is 16. So I have to have a plus 16 here. And then because I can't just add 16, I have to subtract 16. Plus 16 minus 16 is 0. And, then it doesn't change what we did. We just added 0. But then I'm going to group this here. And now I have a term which is b over 2, which is 4. So I have x plus 4 squared minus 16 minus 29 is minus 45. So my f of x looks like that. So f of x plus 4 squared plus negative 45, or minus 45. All right, we have one more here. Okay, so this time we have an equation. So we'll do that by adding on both sides. So I'm going to have x squared minus 4x minus 32 is equal to 0. So I'm going to get rid of the constant here, and I'm going to say x squared minus 4x. I'll add 32 to both sides so that it's 32. Now I want to figure out what this needs to be. My b here is negative 4. And my c here needs to be b over 2 squared, which is equal to negative 4 over 2 quantity squared. And negative 4 over 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is equal to 4, so I need 4. I have to add 4, but it's an equation, so I need to add 4 on both sides. Now this, our constant here is going to be b over 2 so we're going to have x minus 2 squared is equal to 36. That's easy to take the square root of. All right, so that's intermediate completing the square. Completing the square is a very important technique in math, and when we get to later stuff, we'll use completing the square a lot of times to do things with advanced math, advanced high school math. So you really need to know completing the square and get really good at it.